Today we're talking about toxic pagans. First toxic pagans was from Hellcat0009. Hey dudes, thanks for all the work you do on the channel. It is an excellent resource and well of information for anyone in the community, so that's pretty awesome. To me, when I kind of dissected this question in general, it had about 3 different questions, so I kind of broke it down. The first one is, on the subject of toxic pagans, do you think that the pagan community is a safe place? Not like LGBT safe. I know people try to flaunt the pagans are all accepting, but oftentimes I do encounter individuals who will ridicule the beliefs of their pagans. Yeah, I've encountered that too. And honestly, is the pagan community safe? No, it's not safe. It's not safe because people are in it, and people kind of get, power drunk and don't have compassion, or they feel entitled, or what have you. Just because the pagan community dresses itself up that it is accepting and welcoming doesn't mean that it's not susceptible to those kind of people. It's just, it is a community full of people, and that's what's going to happen. To me, it's almost worse than the outside community, because when I go out in public, I'm prepared. I have kind of a shield up for the general population of how they may take me as a witch. I've had many different incidences that have made me make sure that I am prepared for that. So as much as it bothers me, I'm expecting it. When it comes within the pagan community, it is worse to me, because it's other people that, one, have probably experienced that kind of thing and still are doing it to other people, which is kind of a form of bullying. And 2, this is supposed to be a community where we can be who we are. So in that way, to me, it's less safe, if you will. Number 2 question, what about older members of the community who use their supposed higher amount of knowledge to manipulate new practitioners, whether it be through sex or financial means? This being drunk with power is something that is not just in one community. Again, where people in this community are going to have these ways of being. I'm not even really sure what to call them, these characteristics or what have you. This happens in the corporate world, Christian, the Christian path, pagan path. It happens everywhere. And it's not okay, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying that when it comes to these situations, regardless of if you're new to the path, if you're young, if you're older, whatever, we're given an inner voice that we need to listen to. And if we feel like somebody is not telling us the right information, or a situation is not right for us, we need to pay attention to that. We are responsible for our own person. So, the third question, is there any advice that you have for new practitioners of how to avoid toxic people within the community? I do. I have 7 things that I do to avoid toxic people, or to avoid toxic people affecting me. Sometimes you work with toxic people and you can't necessarily get them out of your life, but you need to know how to deal with them. So, as far as toxic people in your life, and actually even if you work with them, is move on without them. Healthy relationships are reciprocal. They're not give, they take. It's a give and take. So if you find that there is any relationship in your life that is not reciprocal, then that is a toxic relationship. If you feel exhausted around people, that's toxic. If you are around somebody who, when you leave, you feel like a piece of crap, then they're toxic. Don't feel obligated to have these people in your life because you work with them or that they're in your family. If you work with somebody who's toxic, you can be as sweet as pie. You don't have to spend time with them. You don't have to sit by them at events. You don't even have to. You can have very general conversations with them, very short, and move on. I work with people who are toxic. I have worked with people who are toxic. We get along just fine. I don't let them get in my space to spread their toxicity, basically. And I don't feel obligated just because I work with them to talk to them more than I need to or anything else. I'm never mean to them. I'm always nice to them, but not overly nice. I have people in my family who are toxic that I don't spend time with. Just because they're my family doesn't mean that I need to spend time with them. They're toxic. They're negative. They thrive on drama. I don't have time for that. Number 2, stop pretending their behavior is okay. Silence is acceptance. If you pacify somebody, short-term ease creates long-term pain in the ass. Not just for you, but for everybody else. So, if you have somebody that you meet on this path or in life and they are a toxic person, and don't make excuses for them in the fact that you make their behavior okay or justifiable. Okay, there are reasons why people are toxic, but it's still not okay for people to be toxic. Number 3, you need to stand up and you need to speak up for yourself. Have faith in what you know on this path. You've gotten this far. I'm sure you've read a million books. You've read all the websites. You've gone to lectures or group readings or events or whatever it is. If you've done any work, and I'm sure you have, if you've done any work and you feel, I know, like for instance, I know this about candle magic. This is true to me. May not be to anybody else, but this information I have, I feel is right. If somebody comes along and they tell you you're wrong, but you feel like it's right, don't let them affect you. Just have faith in that knowledge. Whether it's God or Goddess, Source, or the universe or the divine, whatever it is that you believe in, you're getting this information for a reason. It's to help you on your journey. So have faith in that you know, this information you have that is self-confirming, that you feel is right for you, is right, regardless of what anybody says. Number 4, put your foot down. Your dignity may be attacked, ravaged, disgracefully mocked, but it can never be taken away from you unless you allow it. So, don't allow it. Yes, people in this community, in any community, there are people out there that are going to try to manipulate you. They're going to try to make you feel subservient to them. It's going to happen. I wish it wouldn't, and I would love to say that, you know, this community is far above the bar of that, but it's not, because people are in it. Don't allow that to happen to yourself. You know yourself. And even if you're on a path of learning where information that's coming to you, you're not totally sure about everything, you don't have to believe something just because somebody who's done this for 20, 30 years says it's so. Case in point, many years ago, when I was living in Washington State, I had a group of people come over that I knew to have a ritual. Now, there was a couple of people that wanted to bring some new people that I'd never met before. And I'm the type of person that I like to meet new people, so I was like, the more the merrier. I set up my personal altar a certain way. When I do a community altar, I try to encompass everybody in how they think everything should go, how they would like it. My personal altar, for me, my goddess is always on the right side. Everything feminine, anything symbolizing femininity or the goddess is on the right side. My right side is what I connect with the goddess. That's how it's always been for me. The left side's the God. It's just always been that way. Had this ritual, people came over. This one particular woman came up to my altar to look at it, like many people did, and said, "This isn't right." Now, this woman had been a pagan or a witch far longer than I had ever. She was much older than me, and she had met a few famous writers in this community, so people had a lot of respect for her. And she was kind of intimidating. But she looked at my altar and she said, "This isn't right." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "The goddess does not go on the right side, the goddess goes on the left side, and this is disrespectful." And I said, "No, it's not." She said, "Yes, it is, because it's not supposed to be this way." I said, "Supposed to be to who? Because to me, this is how it's supposed to be. Me and the goddess are good. This is how it is on my altar." I was very adamant about the fact that it was actually disrespectful for her to make comments like that on my personal altar. Upset a couple friends who had a lot of respect for her, but I had to put my foot down. Okay, this is my altar. This is what speaks to me. This is what works for me. I'm not saying everybody has to do it. It's just what I'm doing. It's a personal path, so it was intimidating. I was uncomfortable with that situation, but I was also not raised to put my head in the sand, so I didn't. And I didn't allow her to do that. Didn't allow her to say whatever she thought it was okay to say. Putting your foot down is also about creating boundaries. When you first meet somebody, you can do that. You can do that in a very productive or constructive way, where people, when they meet you, they realize, it's kind of like if people meet you, they realize they can't mess with you if you're really tough, or they can't get bullshit by you because you're not gonna hear it, whatever it is. But you can, in a very productive way, let people know that you have boundaries. And generally, regardless of how people can be intimidating, they don't go past them. Number 5, don't take their behavior personally. Generally, when people are toxic, it's because they have something within them that needs work. Don't take it personally. It's their issue, not yours. And just realize that, it's kind of hard not to take things personally when you feel like you're personally being attacked. But if you look at that person's life, they probably do that to most everybody they come in contact with. So it's not a personal thing. Number 6, practice practical compassion. Why are these people toxic? Are they depressed? Have they lost people in their lives? Are they going through a horrible illness? Being toxic is never okay, but there's always a reason. It's either somebody just doesn't want to deal with issues and they want the world to be as miserable as they are, or maybe somebody has lost their husband, their home, their children, whatever, and they just can't see positive in the world. Having compassion for people and understanding where they come from, that everybody has a story, that we all have a place that we are coming from, that we're dealing with things, is a good way to look at things. And maybe that will help change the community in general, you know. The number 7 thing is take time for yourself. You know, we're in a world where it's constantly moving. We're constantly trying to stay ahead of the ball. I know for me, I commute 45 minutes one way to work every day in New England traffic, and I'm not from New England, so I am still not accustomed to the commute I have to do. New England drivers are some of the worst drivers I have ever experienced, and I've lived in California. I've driven through New York. Rudest people, just so obnoxious. You feel like you're constantly white-knuckling it and stressing the whole way home. When I get home, my shoulders are so tense from driving. And then I have a high stressful job. And then I have a lot of things going on at home. So I don't get a lot of downtime, but I need to take downtime. The last few months have been particularly stressful. We've had some deaths, and that's been really tough. And the last couple weeks, we had a friend's wedding that my husband was in, so we were very involved in that, and that was very time consuming. This weekend, I'm not doing anything. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll get up Saturday morning and I'll want to stay in my pajamas all day. I have no idea. But whatever it is, I'm just going to take some time for myself. And I'm going to kind of marinate things and process things that I need to do that for. And we all need to do that. Toxic people are draining. They're very draining. And the world is draining in general. So we need a recharge. And recharging is just kind of disconnecting and, you know, go take a bubble bath or go for a walk in, you know, the forest or the woods or whatever. You know, whatever it is, just take some time for yourself. Avoiding toxic pagans is the same as avoiding toxic people. You have to go out in the world shielded to a certain extent. And it's unfortunate that we have to do that in a community that's supposed to be so accepting, but it's just not. I wish it were, but you know, it's not. It's full of people. So just make sure that you're taking care of yourself, that you're listening to your inner voice, that you're speaking your mind, that you're, you know, having faith in the knowledge that you have and the experiences that you are bringing to the table. And hopefully that helps. I mean, such a tough subject, you know, toxic people. When you get into a discussion about toxic people who are toxic like to talk a lot about how that's just so, you know, toxic. They're not toxic, and they don't understand how people are toxic. And, you know, we all have a little bit of toxicity in us where we can be at times very negative or what have you. It's just realizing that and recognizing it in ourselves and other people, and making sure that we have firm boundaries and we don't let things happen to us, because, you know, we can stop things from happening to us. We can set boundaries. We can make sure that people understand. Just because you are been around for a long time doesn't mean you're better than me. So anyways, I'm rambling at this point. I still have to edit this video, so I'm going to say thanks for watching. I hope this helped. Please leave comments below if you have any questions. I love hearing from you guys. And until next month, next time, whatever it is, blessed be. Bye.